Hi and welcome to Do the Cite Thing Academy. My name is Jerry Sakala and I'm the founder and creator of Do the Cite Thing Academy. Now, Do the Cite Thing is my call to action for you to stand up and to stand out for an academic integrity standard that is at risk of being eroded by blatant and unchecked plagiarism, better known as copy and paste. It is my hope and desire that by the end of this academy, you and I will have achieved the objective to do the Cite Thing. Hi and welcome to Module 1 of Do the Cite Thing Academy. What's wrong with copy and paste? 32 years after copy and paste, university revokes minister's PhD. What's this all about? Well, truth be told, there are consequences to copy and paste, more so in the world of education. Here you can see the New York Times published a story on its website on February 9th, 2013 titled German Fascination with Degrees Claims Latest Victim, Minister of Education. It's about how after 32 years, German Minister of Education and Research had her PhD revoked due to, quote-unquote, passages suspected to have been lifted from other publications without attribution. Essentially, she was accused of copy and paste after an anonymous blogger published her thesis with suspected sources online. In one word, Mrs. Scavin was guilty of plagiarism. And that's what's wrong with copy and paste. It can even come back and haunt you 32 years later. In another incident closer to home here in Chingola, Zambia, is an institute called the Zambia Institute of Management. I had a chat with the head of campus who later revealed to me after I asked him whether plagiarism was a major concern for the institution. In his explanation to me to sort of give me the gravity of the situation, it was uncovered or revealed to me that the Institute of Management Information Systems of the UK actually went as far as withdrawing the course from the institute because of, or rather for having citing unoriginal work being submitted by students. In other words, plagiarized work, copy and paste work has contributed to it. It is for this reason that the Institute of Management Information Systems UK no longer offers its courses at the Zambia Institute of Management because of cut and paste, copy and paste. Yes, what is wrong with copy and paste? Zambian doctor and professor get 5-year international ban. The education sector is not short of cases of consequences of copy and paste. That I was able to find a local example related to the University of Zambia. You can just Google plagiarism in Zambia and you can actually find it online. But here's a copy of the email that circulated announcing the incident then in 2007. It's a case where Dr. Peter Mwaba and Professor Chintu are alleged to have had an article published and submitted to the International Journal for Tuberculosis and Lung Disease, IJTLD. It was later retracted on account of containing large sections of text verbatim which was not properly referenced. In other words, the duo was accused of copy and paste without attribution after the UNZA dean alerted the publisher. It is believed that the publishers banned the two members of academia from ever publishing in the International Journal for Tuberculosis and Lung Disease journal for 5 years, that is up to the year 2012. I use that as an example just to showcase that truly there are consequences to copy and paste. You can lose your integrity, you can lose a good name, or just for failure to acknowledge and to attribute correctly your sources. Here's something else as well. UNZA steps up the fight against plagiarism. In my quest to find out what the institutions in my local area, in my country, are doing here in Zambia, I researched and found a copy online of the University of Zambia's 2013 to 2017 strategic plan. And in it, I was interested in knowing exactly what plans they have, if any, on plagiarism. And lo and behold, I did find in the plan, section 7, where it reads that they intend to put up an anti-plagiarism system by the end of 2014. Found that rather interesting to note that they are actually taking action against this plague. This just shows you, if anything, if anything to go by, that even now institutions are taking steps both to protect their own integrity, academic integrity, as well as to prevent and deter students, their own students, from committing acts of plagiarism. So the University of Zambia is doing that, and also you'll see here that I have a copy of a typical assignment that they give to students, and it has a statement there that reads, plagiarism shall not be entertained. So what is wrong with copy and paste? It's being taken very seriously, even by local institutions such as the University of Zambia. Hi, let's talk about policies on plagiarism. There are two things that I believe you should really take note of when it comes to policies against plagiarism from institutions of higher learning. And that's that, number one, the responsibility to avoid plagiarism lies with the student. It is you as a student, it lies upon you to learn how to cite and reference correctly your sources that you use in your academic work. That is your responsibility. However, on the other side, it is the responsibility also of the higher learning institution to educate the students about plagiarism. So that's the twofold. You've got a student responsibility and the institution's responsibility. That's how I take it. However, from the research that I have done, it's quite obvious that it is heavily weighing at the moment on the students to understand the depth and width of plagiarism. And also, I believe the institutions are falling probably a bit short on actually educating and preventing students from doing that. However, that is the state of affairs, and that's what I would say you should really take note of in as much as the policies are concerned today. Hi. In my last talk with you, I discussed with you the responsibilities of a student, that it is up to you to learn the depth and width of what plagiarism involves, to what levels, or what I call the 10 degrees of copy and paste. So in short, plagiarism 101, and this is it. Number one is called cloning, or to clone. Clone is to copy and paste word for word from one source and without citation or referencing whatsoever. Control C. Now, this is if you've ever used a keyboard, ever try to press Control and C at the same time, that will actually copy. Well, in this case, Control C in the copy and paste is to copy and paste large portions from one source without paraphrasing and without citing or making reference to it at all. Find and replace. This one always makes my students laugh every time I talk about it. But essentially it's to copy and paste from one source, then only replace keywords in sentences and without citation. I give examples such as, where you've got large, you put the word big, or whether it was small, you put little, it was fast, it was speedy, that type of thing. That's find and replace, and that is copy and paste that you shouldn't do. If ever you've been a DJ, this one should be quite familiar. Remix. To copy and paste word for word from multiple sources without citation or reference whatsoever. This is the kind of copy and paste you shouldn't be doing to do the Cite Thing. Recycle or self-plagiarism. Okay, this is to copy and paste from your own previous work without citation or reference. You've submitted answers or an essay in one course, you've got a similar question in another course, and you decide to use some of that work and you don't cite it. That's self-plagiarism. It's a type of copy and paste you should never do when you try to do the Cite Thing. Right, for this one, if you've been a farmer, you're probably familiar actually. Hybrid, which is a mix, basically. And in this case, it's to copy and paste from multiple sources, but with selective citations or references. You've got some references or citings that are okay, then on the other hand, you leave out some. That's the kind of thing you shouldn't do to do the Cite Thing. 404 error. Ever tried typing in the wrong website address? Now, 404 error is the default for when a website doesn't, or a web page doesn't exist. So to copy and paste, then reference to non-existing or an erroneous source is what this is all about. So don't refer to websites that don't work or don't exist if you want to do Cite Thing. Aggregator. To copy and paste from multiple sources with full references without paraphrasing at all. You've got it all right, you've got plenty of sources, everything is there, and you've cited it, but truly there's nothing of your own. That's all it is. It's full of that stuff. You don't do that when you're trying to do the Cite Thing. Mashup. I know you've come across this one. Where you copy and paste sentences from multiple sources to create a paragraph. Part of a sentence there to complete another one with matched with another one to make one sentence, etc. That's mashing up. That's to copy and paste to create sentences from multiple sources, even without full references to those sources. Now, that is an absolute no-no. Now, this works great for social media, retweet, but unfortunately it won't work for academic research or citing and referencing. Let's talk about student plagiarism and the penalties for it. Here we have what is called the Plagiarism Reference Tarriff. There's a background to this document. It's essentially a guide to how to handle cases of plagiarism by students in higher education. The background is as way back as 2006 in the UK, a Baroness Ditch was the former independent adjudicator for higher education in UK, demonstrated how vulnerable universities were to litigation due to a lack of consistent standards in handling of plagiarism cases. Think of it this way, that without a standard approach, standard policy on how to deal with cases of plagiarism, institutions actually leave themselves vulnerable to legal cases or litigation if and when they are found wanting in having treated one case or one person unfairly against another, but having committed the same offense. So that's why it's important for an institution to have a policy statement on plagiarism that both the institution can use and as well as the students can familiarize themselves with, in terms of both in particular the case handling aspect of it. So it's from this background that this Plagiarism Reference Tarriff has been brought about and is recommended for international adoption across the board. So it's like a taste of things to come that could be in your institution, and an institution could actually look at to develop their own around. From it, you'll notice it's a point-based system. So it takes factors into account such as, whether one is a repeat offender, whether the deception intent was, and what level they're in. Are they first year? Are they, their fourth year? Are they postgraduate? The type of thing that all matters. And also how much of the content have they actually plagiarized? Things like that. Take those factors into account, and it gives you score a point. So based on those points, you then accumulate certain you subject is just you attract certain penalty, and penalties stem from as low as having formal warnings to as severe as being expelled and losing credit or honors from the course that you've been attending, and everything in between. So this is an important document that one needs to familiarize themselves with, because it does carry a lot of weight. It's being adopted in the UK in its various forms, but it gives a very good guide, but it also in particular gives protection to the institution, and also gives the student a clue as to what penalties they could face in the event that they do plagiarize. So it's both a prevention and deterrent, and a safeguard in that regard. It's called the Plagiarism Reference Tarriff, and that's something you can find from the plagiarismadvice.org website. And this is what I used when I'm helping institutions to formulate their plagiarism policies.